Hello, Ms. Murat here with help on today's assignment. So, page 51, numbers 1 through 5 from your textbook, and at the end of lesson 7. So, today's lesson was about solving x squared equations and square root of x equations. And so let's get started. Number 1, Noah solved the equation 5x squared equals 45. So it looks like his first step was to divide both sides by 5, and then he got x squared equals 9, and then take the square root of both sides to get x equals 3. So do you agree with Noah? Well, I halfway agree. I agree he got half of the answer, but he needs the other half, because not only is 3 squared equal to 9, but remember, -3 times -3 is also equal to 9. So because this type of a function is a parabola, there's going to be two solutions. All right. So if x squared is equal to 9, then x equals the positive and negative square root of 9, which is positive and negative 3. Okay, on number 2, we're finding solutions to each equation or explain why there is no solution. So our strategy for solving square root equations is to isolate the square root part of the equation and then square both sides to eliminate the radical, and then continue to solve as needed. So on A, we would start by subtracting the 7 from both sides of the equation because it's on the outside of the square root. So we get the square root of x plus 4 equals -2. At this point, I already know the answer is no solution because this is a positive value, and a positive value cannot be equal to a negative value. So this one is no solution because a positive value cannot equal a negative value. All right, this is positive, this is negative, no solution. On B, again, we're going to isolate the radical by adding 2 to both sides. Because 47 minus x is all under the square root. It needs to stay there until we can square both sides of the equation. Okay, so the radical part, the square root part of the equation is all by itself. We can go ahead now and square both sides of the equation. So that gives us 47 minus x equals 36. And so we'll just subtract the 47 from both sides of the equation, which gives us, don't forget there's that, this is minus x, so negative x. 36 minus 47 is negative 11. Divide by negative 1, x equals 11. And we can do a quick check to make sure it's true. I'll just use my calculator. If I plug in an 11 to the equation, the original equation, the square root, second x squared, of 47 minus 11, arrow out of the radical to get outside, then minus 2. The answer is 4, just like it's supposed to be. Okay, so that checks. That's the answer, and I checked it. All right, on C, I'm going to isolate this radical by multiplying both sides of the equation by 2, because it's 1/2 times that, so multiply by 2. We get the square root of 20 plus x equals 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so the radical is isolated. I'm going to go ahead and square both sides of the equation, which gives us 20 plus x equals 10 squared is 100. Subtract the 20 from each side. X equals 80. And again, we're going to check it. So I'm going to put an 80 here for x and see if my final answer is 5. So 1/2 times the square root of 20 plus 80. The answer is 5, just like it is here. So that checks. Okay, number 3 is multiple choice, and I don't know how it is in your textbook, but on my paper, the questions on this page and the multiple choice options are on the next page. So we'll just go ahead and solve it and see which is a solution to this equation. So if I solve this, I'd isolate that square root by subtracting the 13, and look what happens. I get the square root of 5 minus x is equal to -9. So I'm going to stop right there and say there's not a solution because this is positive, this is negative. They cannot, will not, do not equal each other ever. So I'm going to go ahead, say right here, final answer, no solution, which is option D. The equation has no solution. Whew. Let's see here. Let me get that under the camera. There we go. Oh my goodness. The equation has no solution. All right, so I'm not even going to mess with any of those other options they're trying to tell me it could be. There's no solution. All right, number 4. We're almost there. Almost done. Ooh, this is bringing back some memories about exponents from the last little part of this unit. So I know, first off, that I can rewrite this with the exponent of 5 under the radical. So I know one way I could rewrite this is the square root 1 over the square root of 2 to the 5th. Looks like that's one of the answer options. So B is definitely an answer. I'm going to continue to just try and rewrite this. Okay, well, I know that the index of that root is 2 because it's a square root. So I know it looks like this, 1 over 2 to the 5/2. I know those are equivalent. Those are equal to that. So that, I don't see this in the answer choices, but I kind of skipped over this one right here. Do you guys happen to know, true story, that 2 to the 5th is equal to 32? So that tells me this could be rewritten as 1 over the square root of 32. So I missed that one, but there it is. Now I'm going to go back here and rewrite this as a power of 2, but because it was in the denominator of the fraction, then the exponent is just -5/2. Is that on the list? It sure is. It's F. Okay, and negative exponents do not make negative values, and A, D, and E all suggest that they do. So none of those are correct options, just the 3 I circled. And finally, number 5, we've made it to the end of the assignment. Which are the solutions to the equation x squared equals 36? So let's just remember x squared looks like that. It's kind of a happy little parabola, but x squared equals 36 is going to have a positive solution and a negative solution. So 6, negative 6, both of them. Okay, so this positive and negative square root of 36. So positive and negative 6. All right, that is the end of the assignment. I hope the video was helpful.